Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Christine O'Neill. I'm an environmental planner with the Naugatuck+Valley Council of Governments. And this is Tom. Tom, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Tom Doherty. I'm an environmental planner for Naugatuck+Valley Council of Governments as well.
Yes, and we're here today to break down the trash for Middlebury's Trash Reduction Pilot. So we will go through our slideshow and we'll have some contact information at the end and a survey for you so that we can interact if you have any further questions after watching this. Let's start with what NVCOG or Naugatuck+Valley Council of Governments is. We are a regional planning organization and we serve 19 communities in West Central Connecticut. You can see the communities on the screen here. And of course, Middlebury is one of them. One of the things that we continually hear from our chief elected officials in the region is that waste is a really big issue and that this is something they've been asking us to address. And we'd like to talk to you a little bit about some of the background and strategies that underpin this trash reduction pilot so you understand why we're doing it and where we're coming from. So we're starting from a pretty rough place here. Connecticut has been in a waste crisis for several years now. What's really happening is that we're having a capacity shortage. So right now we have 4 waste-to-energy incinerators in the state. You may have seen in the newspaper that last year Mira in the south end of Hartford closed, and that left us with a significant shortfall of capacity to dispose of our trash. That meant that up to 40% of our waste is being shipped out of state currently. So that's really unsustainable. That obviously means a lot of long vehicle trips, emissions from diesel fuels, and it also means uncertainty about the future because we don't know when these states will stop taking our waste. We also know that we're sending it to places like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and even as far as Virginia, which is not just over the border in Rhode Island or Mass. The 4 waste-to-energy incinerators we have left are nearing the end of their lifespans. They are generally they last about 30 years, and they are extremely expensive to maintain and to site and build for the first time, especially with all the pollution technology that they need in order to meet certain standards. Building more waste-to-energy plants is not really a long-term solution, especially when you consider the hundreds of millions of dollars that need to be invested in that. And so the bottom line here is that we have really high costs. We can't keep sending our waste out of state. We can't keep subsidizing these failing waste-to-energy incinerators, and we need to be mindful of the taxpayers' money. We don't want to see these disposal rates continue to skyrocket and impact taxes. For a little bit of perspective, Middlebury's budget for the transfer station raised 10% last year and 10% the year before that. So as you can imagine, that's a big burden on the taxpayer to keep raising that budget by 10% every year. So we do have a waste crisis story map. You can feel free to scan the QR code with your phone up there in the corner. And the story map just gives you a much bigger, broader view of why we are where we are today. So we are obviously trying to address this waste crisis with our trash reduction pilot. You probably are participating if you're watching this, so you may already be familiar with some elements of it. We really have 2 strategies that underpin the whole program here, and that's called unit-based pricing and organics diversion. So your orange bags represent the unit-based pricing, and the green bags represent your organics diversion. The program is free for residents of the transfer station. You receive a year's supply. It will last you that full year if you use 1 green food scrap bag per week and 2 orange trash bags per week. Right now, it is only focused around transfer station users, which we estimate to be just about half of the households in Middlebury. The rest use subscription haulers, and right now the program is not available to them. And this is a pilot program, right? So we're just trying to gather data and see how things work and collect some information for Middlebury to make a decision as to whether or not this is a good fit for a permanent program. So I'm going to get into what UBP is, and Tom's going to talk about organics diversion. So for unit-based pricing, it's a little bit of a complicated concept, but I hope that this image over here of the houses can be a little bit illustrative. So right now, the way we pay for waste disposal is, like we said, if you use the transfer station, it's through your taxes. If you pay for just a subscription hauler, you pay directly to them, and some of your taxes subsidize the transfer station. But the way property taxes work, of course, is based on the value of your house. And so you're paying a share towards waste disposal based on the value of your house, not really on how much waste you generate. So with that sort of flat fee in your property taxes, you're not actually paying based on the amount of waste you generate. With unit-based pricing, we sort of switch up that system and we change the model to something we are much more familiar with our normal capitalist society, which is you pay for the amount that you use. So with unit-based pricing, instead of paying through your taxes for waste disposal, you would purchase a special town branded bag that looks like maybe the orange bags you're using right now, which are free during the pilot. But in this case, built into the price of that bag, you also have the whole life cycle cost of waste disposal. So instead of a bag that you would buy at the grocery store costing you maybe 15 cents, you might pay $1 for the bag, but in that dollar is built in all the money that's needed to haul it to an incinerator, to dispose of it at the incinerator, to pay the people who are doing this labor. So that's the idea of unit-based pricing. It also means that you're paying less if you create less trash, which is a pretty simple incentive model. It's called a price signal that makes people think more about the trash they generate and make different choices as consumers. So this is fairer to residents. I'll actually go back for 1 second here. Right here you see on this house A over here is creating a lot less trash than house B, but they're paying the same amount because their houses are assessed at the same value. That's not really that fair. But with unit-based pricing, house A gets to save money and house B is paying their fair share that corresponds with the amount of waste they create. So it incentivizes waste reduction, helps people be a little more mindful about their waste and make different choices. And again, it's that electricity bill model, right? The more you use, the more you pay, the less you use, the less you pay. So is UBP just a theory? It's actually not. It's a really successful program we've seen implemented all over the world. And we have a few examples that we can share with you here. So our own Stonington, Connecticut has had UBP since the 90s. You can see here that today Stonington's rate of pounds of trash per person is significantly lower, almost half of what the average is for the nation. So that's a really huge savings, and that is because of unit-based pricing. We also see here with Naugatuck, Massachusetts, they implemented unit-based pricing, and immediately, the very year they implemented it, they saw a significant drop in the amount of waste generated. Where is this waste going? Well, people are just making better choices. They're remembering to bring in their reusable bag. They're choosing not to order takeout and instead bring their own container. They're recycling better. They're thinking about, what can I put in my blue bin? Waterville, Maine, for that same reason, saw a huge increase in recycling rates and cut their waste in half. And then South Korea and many other foreign countries also use unit-based pricing. They specifically separate out food waste, which is a good segue to what Tom's going to talk about in a moment. And they have a really incredible recycling rate. They have extremely low waste, and they recycle almost all of their food. So we have seen these systems work both across the world and right in our own backyards. And so finally, we'll just note that in this program, it's not really truly unit-based pricing because there's no pricing. In the pilot program, you get everything for free, but we're asking you to use these special branded bags to try to stick to 2 bags a week and help us take the challenge to cut the trash in half. And if you do that, you're sort of simulating a unit-based pricing system. You might be surprised. We've actually heard lots of comments from people saying, wow, I didn't realize how heavy my food was or how much I'm saving, or I really do only use 1 bag a week. And Tom will show you some examples of that in a moment. So we're really stressing to use the 2 orange bags and 1 green bag. And you'll see a little bit of the behavior change, but real unit-based pricing is what's going to generate less trash and help you save money if you make those changes. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tom.
Yeah, so now that we talked about UBP, unit-based pricing, the other portion of this pilot is participating in organics diversion. Organics diversion is basically a way to recycle any organic material and use it for something else, such as renewable energy or compost. In this pilot, your efforts in recycling your food scraps in the green bag have been a great way to easily reduce the amount of waste that ends up in the landfill. Um, Now, we do recognize that this is a new practice for a lot of people, and we get a lot of questions about what should go into your food scrap bags. So, the following video we have here explains how you can effectively separate your food waste from your regular trash.
Hi, thanks for being part of this food scraps separation and waste reduction pilot program. You may know that Connecticut is in a waste crisis, whereas incinerators are breaking down and shutting down, and the lack of landfills is causing us to have to send a lot of our trash to out-of-state landfills, which is a really carbon-intensive and expensive option for getting rid of our waste. Now we can reduce the amount of waste and save money by taking out what's recyclable. You're familiar with your blue bin recycling, so the only difference now is that you're also going to be recycling your food scraps. The food scraps that you separate out will go to a biodigester to be made into nutrients that can go back to the soil, as well as producing green energy. My name is Tori. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how I do food scrap separation in my household and talk to you a little bit more about the program. So this is where I keep my food scraps pail with my green bag tucked in. This is a 3-gallon bucket, which works really well for my household of 2. But you could get a 5-gallon bucket from a hardware store with the lid, or you can go online and find a lot of options for different size and different design pails for your compost. I know a lot of people do like a cookie jar or a mason jar on their countertop, or you could do like a coffee can with a sealing lid. You'll find what works for you, but this works really well for me. And I just keep this right here or under the sink, but you can keep it outside. It's got this nice lid that snaps on really good. So when I'm cooking, I'll take my food scraps and just gather them into a bowl. And then when it gets full or I'm done cooking, just take it right over to my pail and dump them in. If I'm cleaning out the fridge, I'll just take whatever leftovers I have and put them right there in the pail. Some for the dog. Just like that. Now this is styrofoam, so this will go into the orange bag that I have here in my trash. If it was a plastic container, it could be recycled. But if you're ever unsure about what to recycle, you can always go to recyclect.com and use the recycling wizard to find out whether or not your stuff belongs in the orange bag as trash or in the recycling bin. When the bags are full or on your regular trash day, you just take them and put them both together into your bin to put out by the curb. From here, the bags will go to a sorting facility where they'll be separated by hand, green and orange. The orange bags will go to a landfill or incinerator, and the green bags will go to the biodigester in Southington. Keep recycling as usual, and it's really that easy. Thanks again for participating in this pilot program. This program is really at the forefront of what sustainable waste management could look like for Connecticut and beyond.
Now, you may wonder where all these food scraps go once they're disposed of. After you drop your green bags off at the transfer station, they are being hauled off to the Quantum Biopower facility in Southington, Connecticut, that processes your food scraps. As you can see from the picture here, around 22% of trash is made up of food that can be used sustainably when you participate in organics diversion. So, to look into this further, the following video is a quick look of what Quantum Biopower is doing with your food scraps.
2% nitrogen, 2.5% phosphorus, 1% potassium. We blend this with leaf and yard waste. Let it aerobically stabilize for about 60 days. And if you want to grow tomatoes like this, that's the stuff. Great stuff.
Now that we've seen how UBP and organics diversion works, I'd like to show you best practices you can do at home and at the transfer station while you participate in this program. This next video shows ideas of where to store your food scraps at home.
My kitchen is pretty normal size. I would say right about medium. But there are a surprising number of options for how I can set up my bin and my bag for food scrap collection. My first option, which is CAT approved, is right here by my garbage can. I just put it right down in front of the can, easy peasy, still have plenty of room to get around. It's a pretty small bin. If you have any issues bending over, you can also stack it on top of some storage units. I keep my bird feed in here, and right above, nice and easy to put the bin. Here's a third option that's a little bit outside of the box. Because many of these bins come with handles, you could actually hang it somewhere. If I zoom out here, you can see the rest of my kitchen. It's pretty unassuming. It's just kind of hanging there, but it's easy and convenient to grab when I need it. My fourth option is to stick it right here on my countertop, next to the microwave, and right near the surfaces where I'm going to prepare the food, so it's convenient as could be. Now, if I really don't love the look of having my bin out, there are some less conspicuous places I can put it. Here, I've just stuck it right under something with a little tablecloth. I can pull it out when I need it, easy peasy, and it's still right here in the kitchen where I can access it conveniently. Another convenient option is right under my kitchen sink. It only took just a minute of rearranging my stuff down there to get the bin to fit. Many people also have a pantry. By cleaning out my pantry a little bit and making some room, I actually have a nice easy place where I can put my bucket. Yet again, this is one more option for where to place your food scraps.
So if you don't have a bucket like the one in the video we just watched, everyday items will work just as well, such as a 5-gallon bucket with a lid or a resealable plastic cat litter container. Now, for this next video coming up, I'd like to stress the importance of best practices on reducing your trash. In this pilot program, we anticipate households to be able to use 2 orange regular trash bags a week and 1 green food scrap bag a week. This should be possible if you're separating out your trash, organics, and recycling at the same time. Now, we do understand that this is not always possible in some circumstances, but we want to urge you to try to cut down your trash as much as you can. With that being said, let's watch best practices when disposing your waste at the transfer station. While we're at the transfer station seeing all the residents participating in this pilot like you saw in that video, we have so many that come up to us and express how great the program is. So here's a couple videos showing resident support.
I was amazed when I weighed the food scraps and my regular trash. It weighed twice as much. It was amazing.
Yep, and look how much it's going to save. You're not going to put it into your regular household trash. It's going to go into that bin.
You know, everybody needs to do this. We have to get the word out. This is absolutely the greatest thing we can be doing for our environment, for our kids,
Yep.
for our future.
Or compost yourself.
Yeah. Not as easy in the winter time, that's for sure.
But it's a good idea.
I'm Sharon Stram and I live in Middlebury, and I am super excited to drop off my compost bag. And it's long overdue, and we all do our part. I do have a garbage disposal at home, which I have been using for my food scraps, but that's not the most efficient use this is. So I hope everybody will pitch in and drop off their bags.
And those were just some of the positive things residents had to say about the program. We received numerous comments online and in person saying how happy they are that they can participate in a great cause. For instance, Woodbury is currently doing a similar program, and here are some of the comments we have received from their community. One comment that stands out to me here is an email saying, "I am so proud of Woodbury for taking this on. I feel proud of myself too. Please continue to offer earth-friendly, sustainable options. I am here and I appreciate the efforts." This comment really shows that people are willing to do this program and feel proud in their efforts.